What's up, everybody? That was my best Josh impression.
Interesting.
Well, as you can see, Josh is not here to open this up
He's
for
dying.
us. He literally is.
Pneumonia.
Yeah, and he refuses to go to the
Yes.
doctor.
So, yeah.
So, if you're listening to us, you're out there, just pray for
Yeah.
little Josh.
Also, don't give speeches without a jacket in the snow.
What do you mean?
Well, that's how the 9th president died. He got pneumonia and died after a month because he wanted to show what a tough man he was.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I was a little worried because, as you know, we were up at camp, winter camp, with the high school youth, and we got a snowstorm on the way
Oh,
up.
that's cool.
Oh, it was beautiful. We got there probably. I don't know how long it had been snowing already, but we got up there about 4:30, 4:45 ish, and it was coming down. Like it was coming down. You know, it wasn't just a little
What
bit
is
of
it?
snow. It was like heavy snow. You know, like I
What
told you,
is
it was
it?
like, you know, how in the cartoons, you know, and it's snowing and they show it like in slow motion. They got this big old snowflakes. That's how it was. Like,
Big O tires.
yeah, it was. I think one time I might have seen it snow like that up in Outer Wild, but that's it. But yeah, we got a lot of snow that first night. Anyway, so we got there about 4:45. It did not stop snowing till. I mean, we went to our cabin at 11 p.m. and it was still snowing. And I'll show you some pictures. I still haven't shown you how much snow there was. There was actually a lot of snow.
Well, I saw some.
The following day, we had a big old snow fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all this happened because we had breakfast. We had our first couple of sessions, teachings before lunch. We went to lunch. After lunch, it's free time, right?
Yeah.
So a couple of the guys like Owen, not supposed to say names, but anyways, couple of the guys wanted to go play frisbee golf, which I thought, hey, this is gonna be pretty fun, you know, frisbee golf in the snow.
Yeah.
So I thought, all right, let's go. So we actually got a pretty big group, you know, probably about anywhere from 8 to 10 people, all guys. And no, I'm lying. There was 3 ladies, so it might have been closer to 12. But anyways, so we start playing. It was so many of us that it was taking forever. We get to the first hole, or whatever you call it. Obviously, it's not a hole. It's for the frisbees, the first target, whatever. And one of the young leaders, you know, started throwing snowballs at everybody. And he threw a couple at me, and he got me. And I'm like, hey, dude, you know, go ahead and play with them. You know, I'm out, you know. And he threw another one. I said, hey, next time you do that, there's going to be consequences. So he threw another one. So I grabbed him. I tackled him. You know, I pinned him down and started, you know, I got snow and just started, like, burying him with the snow.
Wait, so how deep was the snow?
Huh?
How deep was the snow?
One more time. How deep was the snow?
Was it? Yeah.
I'm going to say right there where we were, must have been about 6 inches. But there was
So like when you would step, it would compact?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
When we moved over to the soccer field where we had, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyways, the soccer field was, I'm going to say it had anywhere from 12 to 18 inches in some parts of how much it gathered.
Like a puddle? Yeah.
The whole soccer field. You know that soccer field?
Yeah.
I mean, it was about this deep.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Anyways, so I grabbed this guy, I tackle him, I pin him. Well, all the other, you know, all the kids that were there, or young adults, or, you know, whatever you want to call them, they were all kind of mad at him because he kept on throwing snowballs, and we were all trying to play, you know, frisbee golf. So they all joined in, and they were scooping, you know, the snow with the with their frisbees and throwing it on them. Yeah, I didn't really feel bad, but he was like,
Nah, you can say his name. Wait a minute, he's been on the podcast.
okay,
Yeah.
Colby.
Yeah.
Colby. Yeah, so he was trying to. And I don't know why, because another one of the leaders took him out the night before for doing the exact same thing. Where he was throwing snowballs,
it's
and he was
fun.
like, "No, don't do that, because if you do, I'm gonna take you out." He straight up told him. He threw it again, so he took him down. So I did the same thing. But anyways, but this time was worse because the other day he just the other leader just took him down, and we all laughed, and it was funny, whatever. And over here we're laughing too. You know, we're having fun. We're not mad at each other, nothing like that. But I when he got up, I mean, he had so much snow on his hair, on his neck, like everything went down his jacket. So he had to like take it off and dust it off. And the thing too was that like his wife is standing there watching all this happen, and she's just like, you look and she's like, she doesn't know what to say. Like, you know, my husband's getting bum rushed by everybody. And then the leader there, Pastor Joe, am I allowed to say that?
Pastor Joe. I don't know who made the rule about not saying names.
You did. That's why I keep asking.
No, for some background, Josh just said in that one podcast where we're talking
Okay.
about soccer, he's just like,
Okay.
I thought we weren't supposed to say names.
All right,
And
well,
so I'm
he's-
like, well,
he's
I guess
a-
it's a rule now, so I
he's-
just went with it.
He's
but
a
I
public.
don't know.
He's a public figure, so you know, Pastor
Public
Joe.
figure.
And that's not his real name. That's what we call him. So unless you know who he is,
of
you
a
really
show
don't know
name.
who it is. So, anyways, Pastor Joe. So you have his wife right here, like with this face, like, oh my God, you know, do I help him? Are they gonna get me too? Or you know, she's kind of like scared for her husband.
Well, Colby's, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then. And you got Pastor Joe over here just laughing his brains out, like he had that coming. He had that coming. You told him. Because Pastor Joe's cool, but he's a little serious, you know? So I thought, like, oh, I wonder if he's going to be mad or he's going to tell us not to do this kind of stuff, to not play around like that.
You know.
But man, he was just laughing. And then this is what I thought was like bomb, because then Pastor Joe saw that and he's like, you know what? Forget this Frisbee game. Everybody, let's go to the soccer field and
Yeah,
have a snow fight.
yeah.
It's like, hey, let's go.
Nah. You know, I learned this too, and it's strange because you know, coming out of high school and becoming a man, I still find it weird talking to older people. I found it easier when I was in high school, and now it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's just strange. But one of the things I learned is I was always scared of Joseph or Pastor Joseph or whatever. I don't know.
Dude, you
I
killed
was,
it.
Nah, well, I was always scared. Like, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I don't think he'll ever hear this, but now that I said that, Josh is gonna pick it out and send it to him.
Right.
But anyways, so I used to do this thing where after I was out of the youth group, I left the group chat on GroupMe so I could go back in, and so. What I did is I got a bunch of my friends and like they all changed their profile to me, and then so I could go in and then one of them would leave and we'd mix it up and he wouldn't know who was who, and so I was always scared, like, is he gonna get mad? Like, is this something that reflects bad on me as a young leader in the church? And then I just thought about it. I'm like, okay, he might get mad. Also, Pastor Jim would totally do this and think it's hilarious. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, the senior pastor wouldn't do that because he doesn't know technology. But if he could do it, he would
do it.
and he would think it's funny. So I got consolation in that. But yeah, I guess it's just part of learning how to be an adult. It's strange because I joke a lot, and many people would see that as immature, and I don't really care. So,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
No, I mean, yeah, whatever. It's fun.
I see maturity as knowing when you can joke and when
Yeah.
to be serious.
Yeah, no,
I
but
see it more immature if you're like joking when it's like obviously in bad taste.
right.
And
Yeah.
you shouldn't. But
No, but then you know, to finish up the story over here with the Colby and stuff. So his glasses ended up getting broken,
oh,
so I had to pay him for his glasses. So I felt bad. I mean, I guess I technically didn't have to, but I feel bad because I figured, well, if I wouldn't have tackled him, you know, that would have never happened.
his glasses wouldn't have died.
Right. So I paid him for his glasses and. But no, it was a blast just to be up there with the kids, you know, and
There was an explosion.
yeah, there actually was a lot of explosions on Saturday. You know, they gave us beans for dinner. Let me tell you, I don't know how the girls' cabin was, but I tell you, the boys' cabin stunk like bad, and you couldn't even open the window or nothing because it was so cold outside. But yeah, no, but it was so much fun. I think probably the best parts. I mean, the status and all that stuff was good, but as far as like the free time and all that, the best parts were when we were actually in the cabin for lights out at 11. Because we had Brother Rubio up in the room with us, and you know he just came up with all these games for the kids, and I mean it was a blast.
So how do you go from farting to having a deep spiritual experience? To yeah, I don't know.
Well, hey, farting's part of it, dude.
It's a part of it.
Oh,
How? Explain.
It's your guys, dude. Guys are just gassy dudes, and
Oh man.
me
We
for
never
one,
do
I'm
that.
like, if I hear a fart, dude, I'm like, I think it's funny.
You see, we never did that. What we did is we drank Mountain Dew milk. It was the summer in between sophomore and junior year.
Yeah, y'all don't have to do that because one fart will clear out
It was
the whole room.
COVID. Nah. See, so we mixed the Mountain Dew and the milk. It tasted like sweetened milk, which is gross, but it wasn't nasty. Some people thought it tasted like custard, which I don't know what that is, so I don't know. But the assistant pastor's son, Don J. We had him on the podcast. I know we've told this story before. I don't know if we told it with him on the podcast.
I think you did.
But I know we've told the story. But yeah, he cleared out the room and the room next to us. The smell like went under the door or something. People were getting up, like no joke. Like what was that? Like what happened? Like thought there was a fire. Or
They thought somebody
like,
threw a
what
stink
happened?
bomb in the room.
Yeah, like what happened? Nah, it was nasty, man. And then the Don J just sitting over there laughing, like curled up in his bed. It's like, dude, that's nasty, man.
Well,
And
dude-
this was minutes after I walk outside the room, and then one of our youth leaders thought I was trying to sneak to the girls' side. He's like, "What are you doing up, boy?" And I'm like, "That's scary." I was just trying to put a little mannequin, and I was trying to face it at the leader, thinking he was asleep. So maybe if he woke up. Somehow he's watching me through his eyes the whole time. I go back in the room and he farts, man. I'm like, but it made a good memory. Legend has it that all the students are still running from the smell to this day.
But dude,
So,
picture the smell, okay? So
how do you picture smell?
no, but just think about how bad this must have been. Because look,
Uh-huh.
it was a small cabin with a bunch of bunks, right? So there's about a dozen of us in there, maybe. Yeah, probably about a dozen, maybe a little, maybe 14.
Yeah.
But anyways, picture this though. None of the kids were prepared for the snow. So everybody's in their tennis shoes. So what happens? Tennis shoes mixed with snow? Their feet get
They
wet. Their
freeze.
socks get wet.
Yeah.
So now picture the smell of wet, dirty socks from 14 people plus everybody farting.
Nah, you just throw them out and burn them at that point, man. why are you going to bring them inside? Throw them away. If you really care,
No.
get them back
Okay.
the day you leave.
Now, you know what saved us a little bit?
Air freshener?
Josh had a deodorizer or whatever for the shoes.
Uh-huh.
So he went around, he sprayed every single shoe with that, which that helped because let's be honest, the shoes are wet too.
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna have that bad smell regardless. So you got all these stinky shoes, all these stinky socks. So what do you think happens to the feet? They stink too,
They get wrinkled?
right? Yeah, they're wrinkled and stinky,
Uh-huh.
right? Just try to picture that smell, and then gassy kids on top of that.
So why'd you do this? Whose idea was this?
Because I love the kids, man. I just want to go help.
So you went and farted and smelled?
No,
with
I didn't
them?
fart, 'cause you know
wait,
what?
I don't understand.
I was
Why?
smart. I was smart. I took digestion
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why wasn't everyone else smart?
because I was the only one that had digestion, and I'm not allowed to, hand it out, unless parents are there. Even though they technically signed the waiver, but still, I wasn't gonna do that. But yeah, like at the end of the night, that second night, okay, Josh
Not
and
okay.
Colby bunked together.
Like the same.
Yeah, one on top,
Okay,
one on bottom.
Okay.
They were the gassiest.
Oh boy.
So they were going back and forth like boom.
Okay,
boom,
well here's
boom,
the thing:
boom.
is that normally there's, even I guess like in couples, there's a snorer and a farter.
Right.
So you're all just farters. You're all just farting.
I'll be honest to you. I snore. But I asked the kids, hey, how bad was the snoring? And they're like, oh, didn't even hear you. I was okay, cool.
Yeah, the farts were that loud. They just
No,
couldn't
no,
hear
no, no.
over the
I don't
farting.
know, dude. It was weird because I've known Pastor Joe to snore before too. And
Oh yes, you've accused him before.
yeah,
Yeah.
but nothing. It was like nothing. Like there was no snoring.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been a God thing. I don't know, but there was zero snoring.
Interesting.
14 kids, well, and adults all mixed in there together. No snoring, and maybe because I was awake,
Yeah.
and I didn't hear it. But maybe I was the only one. But I honestly asked because I did ask, like, hey, was I snoring a lot? And they were like, nah. And these are kids that would tell you and would actually make fun of you if you were snoring. So, so yeah, no, it must have been a God thing. Like, hey, I zero
I
snoring.
sent you farts, no snores this weekend.
Yeah. And then one of the kids started talking about crusty butt.
What is that?
You go ask him. I'll tell you who it is. But
What?
needless to say, that became his new nickname.
Oh.
Crusty butt.
Interesting. Sounds like something that would happen to a chicken, since we have chickens here.
Right. No, they do.
Yeah.
It's actually called a pasty butt.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
See, it's the same thing. So John,
Oh, my
chapter
goodness.
6, verse 34. We'll probably go through verse 40, but who knows?
Whoa, that's a lot, dude.
It's one sentence.
Oh, verse 40.
Okay,
I thought you
not
said we are going to
literally.
finish because it's 70 verses.
What? No.
Yeah, okay. My bad.
Okay. You want to read it?
Sure. We're on 34, right? It says, Sir, they said, give us that bread every day. Talking about the bread of life, the bread that comes down from heaven. It says, Jesus replied, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. But you haven't. Well, let's stop there, dude. What you got?
I'm sorry, I was kind of blank.
Oh, my God.
Well, it's because the versions are different, so I read.
Yeah,
the-
that's true. That's true.
strange.
You want me to change it?
No. Just
Okay.
Do you have something? You stopped for a reason.
Well, no, I just stopped because now it's going to get into a. Can I answer? No, I'll just call, I'll call him back. I'll call him back.
You can come back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, hold on. I don't want to cut this out of the podcast. Do you care to explain your distraction?
Well, I've been texting with my cousin from California because we got a Spanish retreat coming up,
Yeah.
and so I'm inviting him obviously, and then seeing if he wants to share something
Yeah.
like a message or if he wants to lead
See,
worship.
if he comes down here, we should have him on the podcast.
Oh,
That's what we should
absolutely,
do. Yeah.
absolutely, yep.
Anyways.
But anyways, back to
Yeah.
the word.
So there was part of a testimony at church yesterday because we had testimonies at church or during service. How, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. Like, I'll need for nothing. God brings me to green pastures. What does that mean? Like, for a sheep, that means like an endless supply of food. And what else could a sheep want? I mean, they just want to survive. But to never thirst, to never hunger, God means that in somewhat of a literal way, because in Matthew 6, he mentions how he takes care of the grass, and he's going to take care of you. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not to say a human can't use his free will to make things worse for you, or to torture, abuse you, or make you a martyr. There's extreme cases, but what this is pointing to is more spiritual. Because he's saying he is the bread, and, well, he's not bread. You can't eat him or his body. It's weird. And actually, we're going to have an episode next week that talks about that. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. That's all I had to say. Okay, here's the thing. When I speak here or like in a sermon, I can't close. I don't know how to stop
I know it's hard.
in
I
a
know.
smooth way.
So I get this. My understanding this is it's a similar way. It's 100% spiritual. Like to me, he's saying like I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty again. And you think like, okay, well, in my flesh, I'm always going to be hungry and I'm always going to be thirsty. You know what I'm saying? But spiritually speaking, the way I see this is like when he's talking about this, he's saying like, hey, you know what? I'm enough for you. If you come to me, you're not going to be hungry for that sin. You're not going to thirst to go and do those bad things before, because if you abide in me and I abide in you, then you're not bound to that sin anymore. I give you the strength to say, you know what? Cut those chains. I'm out of here. I don't need that bread there no more. I'm not thirsting for that drink of alcohol. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to go and eat, pornography with my eyes. I don't need to do that no more because I've got God,
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see that. All right.
Verse 36.
36.
But I said to you that you have, sorry. But I have said to you that you have seen me and yet do not believe. All that the Father gives me will come to me, and the one who comes to me I will by no means cast out. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. And this also kind of goes along with some of the testimonies from yesterday. Both of them kind of talked about praying for your enemies, right? And Jesus wasn't like human with like a sinful nature, right? He was human but was God with a perfect, like he couldn't sin. I need to become more smooth. Anyways, so he couldn't sin, so he wasn't like hating people and like, God, I really don't want to save them, but you told me to. But he's setting the example like for us, like it's not because we want to do it, right? It's because it's God's will. It's because he sent us, And so we need to learn to do things because God asks us to, and not even just in a spiritual way, because you hear a lot from Christians today about how spiritual things are, and it's true. How if persecution comes and things get worse, like these things are all true spiritually, but even for the most part, they're true physically too. When you obey God, He will bless you on this side of heaven too. And that's important to remember. That doesn't mean it's a guarantee or he will make you a millionaire or something, but it's not like God has no rewards for you at all. And even if we lived our whole lives serving God, we still wouldn't deserve anything from him. And then he still gives it to us. It's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But notice how he brings up again how these people, he tells them, and they don't believe, but that those who come to him, he'll by no means cast out, which I think leads into an even bigger conversation of all these people who argue about whether or not you can lose your salvation, which, again, I think a whole episode in and of itself.
Right. Yeah, because then you get into
So
39,
it's
and
like
39 tells you, like, yeah, it's crazy. But, so the version that I read, the NLT, says in 37, because it simplifies it. It says, however, those the Father has given me will come to me, and I will never reject them. So if you're searching for God, you will find him, and he will never, ever reject you.
That's really interesting because the King James Version says he'll lose none of them.
Right.
So that actually makes me want to go look at like the Greek words behind them.
Yeah.
And you've heard Josh mention Blue Letter Bible a lot. Like you don't have to go to college or something weird and learn Greek. Like just go look it up and it'll translate it for you with what the word meant back then.
And then 38, for I have come down from heaven to do the will of God who sent me, not to do my own will. How hard is that as a believer? Because we are to do the same as believers. I get the opportunity to pray and talk to a lot of homeless people, and but for a long time I ran from that, man. There'd be times where I see a homeless person, or even at the hospital. I'd be working at the hospital, and I'd see a person like in the waiting room, and I would I would hear this voice like audibly, like, "Hey, go pray with that person," and I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, "Nope, thank you, Lord, but nope." And I would get the worst feeling every time that I heard that voice that told me go pray with this person, and I didn't do it. I felt bad, like guilt, like this guilt just came upon me, like, dude, that person needed prayer, and God's telling me to go pray, and I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I ran away from that for a long time. I do it now. Now I feel it, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do it, God, but here we go. And it's crazy. I've told you these stories, not at the hospitals, but a lot of the homeless people actually end up praying for me a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's humbling, and it's like, we're both, like ministering to each other in our own way. Like, I'm praying for them, and then they're like, wait a minute, now I'm going to pray for you. And it's just crazy, dude. It's an amazing feeling when that happens. So be obedient to God's calling. When he tells you do this, do it. And a lot of times you're not going to want to do it, especially like Taylor was saying earlier, especially if it's like, hey, pray for your enemy. Hey, help your enemy or the person you consider your enemy, because God doesn't see it that way. I don't think, So what are you going to do next time that, this person that did something to you that you don't like very much, and as a believer, God tells you, hey, you know what? I need you not only to pray for this person, but I need you to go and actually talk to him and help him. Are you going to do it?
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
And verse 40.
39.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I read that. Anyway. This is the will of the Father who sent me, that of all he has given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up at the last day. And this is the will of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. And so notice again the balance. You'll have people read verse 39 and be like, predestination, God chose you, and you didn't really choose. And then you'll get to verse 40 and people argue like, no, it's free will and God has nothing to do with it. And when Jesus said it in basically the same sentence, back to back, within 10 seconds, it's a balance. It's both. You have to choose. You have a choice. And theoretically, God chose you because he died for you. And if you decide to reject that, that's on you. But anyways, we're out of time. I don't know if you had something else on those verses.
No, just real quick. Like, yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that. I think, I believe in predestination. You know that. We've had that conversation many times. But I also believe, like, there's the free will as well. Like, hey, we get to make that decision. God gives us that free will to decide we're going to follow him or not, or we're going to be obedient to him or not. And, like when it comes to his service, those are the things that I think are more predestined than anything else, is like, because he gives us all different gifts, you know what I'm saying? So to some he gives to be able to be teachers. So I think that right there is predestined, But, as far as salvation, I just think it's whoever comes to God more than anything else. Whoever makes that choice, because he died for all of us. He didn't say I just died for, the people I predestined to be saved. Because if I'm starting to believe, and I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm starting to think the only people that were predestined were the 144,000 from Book of Revelation.
You mean predestined to be saved?
Right.
Yeah.
I think those are the only ones that were actually like predestined. Like, all right, you guys are set aside, because that's actually what it says. Y'all set aside.
Yeah.
So, and I think everybody else, like you and me, we've got to make the decision to accept his gift of Jesus dying at the cross for us. So that's that.
Interesting.
You get the noise this time, didn't you?
Nah, I've escaped this for so long.
No, I know. You got to do it now.
Nah.
Dude, come on.
I live to escape another day.
Come on, man. Just because you're the boss, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Let's see. What's the noise?
I don't know. Do it.
Nah, you're supposed to.
Me?
Yeah. What?
I don't
What
have
is
no
it?
idea what Josh would do, dude.
What would Josh do?
Yeah.
He'd probably try to do something with his cheeks.
There you go,
Did
dude.
it.